Sri Vishnu
Dhamarajasya
Yadi Nideshakarina
Uttaramasanastatvam Yacha Dhammasalakshanam
Shri Vishnuduta Uchu,
Sri Vishnuduta Uchu,
the blessed messengers of Lord Vishnu spoke.
The blessed messengers of Lord Vishnu spoke.
Yuyam,
Yuyam,
all of you.
all of you.
Boy,
indeed.
Dharma Rajasya,
Dharmarajasya,
of King Yamaraj, who knows the religious principles. Yadi,
Yadi,
if Nirdeshakarina,
Nideshakarina,
order carriers.
order carriers.
Bruta,
Bruta,
just speak.
just speak.
Dharmasya,
Dharmasya,
of religious principles.
of religious principles.
Na,
Na,
unto us.
unto us.
Tattvam,
Tattvam,
the truth.
the truth.
Yat,
Yat,
that which.
that which.
Cha,
Cha,
also.
also.
Adharmasya,
Dharmasya,
of impious activities.
of impious activities.
Lakshanam,
Lashana,
symptoms.
symptoms.
Translation, 6th Canto, Chapter 1, verse 38. The blessed messengers of Lord Vishnu, the Vishnu Dutas, said, if you are actually servants of Yamaraj, you must explain to us the meaning of religious principles and the symptoms of irreligion. Purport. The inquiry by the Vishnu Dutas to the Yamadutas is most important. A servant must know the instructions of his master. The servants of Yamaraj claim to be carrying out his orders, and therefore the Vishnu Dutas very intelligently asked them to explain the symptoms of religious and irreligious principles. The Vaishnava knows these principles perfectly well because he is well acquainted with the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord says, Sarva Dharmam Parityajya Mame Kam Sharanam Vraja. Give up all other varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 1866. Therefore, surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the actual principle of religion. Those who have surrendered to the principles of material nature instead of to Krishna are all impious, regardless of their material position. Unaware of the principles of religion, they do not surrender to Krishna, therefore they are considered sinful rascals, the lowest of men, and fools bereft of all knowledge. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Namam duskritino mudha prapajante naradama maya pragyana asaram bhavam ashita. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender to me. One who has not surrendered to Krishna does not know the true principle of religion, otherwise he would have surrendered. The question posed by the Vishnu Dutas is very suitable. One who represents someone else must fully know that person's mission. The devotees in the Krishna conscious movement must therefore be fully aware of the mission of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, otherwise they will be considered foolish. All devotees, especially preachers, must know the philosophy of Krishna consciousness so as not to be embarrassed and insulted when they preach. Very interesting last couple of sentences. In other words, read the books, because if we're distributing books and someone says, what is it about, and we don't know, it's not very good. Any ordinary salesman, they have to know their product. So we have to know what is the purpose of our books. So the Vishnu Dutas are challenging the Yamadutas. They're sincere, the Yamadutas, that basically what they understood, they get all sinful people. So they knew the history of Ajamil, but they didn't know the power of chanting the name of God. So they were going to arrest him anyway. But the Vishnu is saying he chanted Narayan, so therefore he's not considered sinful anymore. Somehow it's all relieved. But we should not think we can take advantage of that. Even I remember seeing, when I was very young, I was watching television late at night, and they had a show, some kind of Christian show would come on the last thing, 1 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock. So they showed the really, really sinful guy, his whole life completely sinful, but then all of a sudden at the end of his life he said Jesus, and he was pulled off to heaven. So of course that is possible, but it's misleading because the chances of thinking of Krishna at the end of life, if you never think of him during your life, are not very good. Generally, at the time of death, you'll think about whatever you've been thinking about all along. Sometimes there's special mercy, like in the case of Ajamil, but in his youth, he had actually worshipped Narayan. And that was up until he fell down with this prostitute, so he was probably 20 years old or so. So that came back to him when he started, even though he was just calling his son, he didn't remember Narayan. So that background is there. And, we have other stories of the Muslim getting killed by a pig, and he's going, Haram, Ram, and gets liberated. It can happen, but we shouldn't expect that to happen. Something like they give an honorary PhD sometimes, right? So if we think, well, I won't go to school, I'll just wait, see if I get an honorary PhD. But what kind of people get the honorary PhD? Name a few. Nelson Mandela, John F. Kennedy, people like that. Maybe Martin Luther King, I don't know. You have to do a lot. It's not study in the university, but they do much more. So sometimes they get it, but not a common thing. So better we practice Krishna consciousness according, to the guidance of the spiritual master in this life. The sarva dharmam parityajya mamaikam sharanam aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami. Don't be afraid. I guess I was in another country I was talking about. Phobias, you know what phobias are?
Phobia.
It's like some kind of fear people have, and there's no real reason for it. It's just... So nowadays there's so many phobias. If you look on the internet under phobia, there's hundreds of phobias. Basically, it used to be people afraid of the dark, or they're afraid of a high place, or they're afraid of dogs or snakes or something. People are afraid to succeed because then they'll expect you to succeed again and again. And they're thinking, maybe I won't be able to. Then we have fear of surrender. And when I said that, that's why Krishna says, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Don't be afraid. I'll protect you. Don't be afraid of surrendering. Other people may not like it. They may say you're neglecting your ordinary ritualistic duties. But don't be afraid. Krishna will protect you. You have nothing to lose. Arjuna was afraid, He said, what happens to someone who tries but they don't make it? Then they're going to be nowhere. And Kripa Moya Prabhu, my godbrother, who preached very extensively in England, and he's one of the first devotees, so he talked to so many devotees who gave up their practice. And he said, most of them said, well, I was afraid, that if I wait till later, and I give it up, then what am I going to do? I better get my material life together first. So Arjuna was saying like that, he will be nowhere. You won't have a material life or a spiritual life. But Krishna says, don't worry, And we've seen when people leave, Maya immediately engages them. Sometimes they get a big business, sometimes they get homeless, sometimes they enjoy life apparently. But immediately there's something. If you turn your back on Krishna, then Maya is right there. But if you surrender to Krishna, don't be afraid. Krishna will protect you, because sarva dharmam, it doesn't mean you don't do anything, but in the materialistic society, in the culture, they do so many yajnas, so many dharmas, so many ceremonies every day for so many things. But Krishna is saying you don't have to do that. And Jesus said like that. Just come with me, don't worry. Let the dead bury the dead, right? Don't worry. But my father died, I have to, no, don't worry about the funeral, come with me. I'll cover for you. So, representing Krishna, you can say like that. Give up all of the varieties of religion, all the different mundane yajnas for health and wealth and family and all these things. You don't have to do all those rituals anymore, demigod worship. It's all covered by surrendering to Krishna. So the four kinds of people don't surrender. When my godbrother Vishal, he was one of the early book distributors. He's still a book distributor. He would show guru, the priest, the monk, or whoever is preaching is supposed to be telling people to surrender to Krishna. But the rascals say, surrender to me. That I don't know anymore, but when we had the beginning, when I first was, and we were in ashrams, that was a commonly misused sloka by the temple president. You better surrender, Prabhu. Surrender to me. You have to surrender. And devotees were new. They read the Bhagavad and do whatever I tell you. And sometimes they and then the grains come out. But if there's no grains and you just keep beating, it's just a lot of work. It's like story of some guy was describing to his friend the sugar cane and how sweet and how nice it tastes. So he asked him, what does it look like? And he said it looked something like bamboo. So the guy went out, he found some bamboo and he was trying to eat the bamboo, get some, but he didn't get any sweet taste from the bamboo. It would break your teeth. But it looks similar, so that the pleasures of the material world look something like, the spiritual world. They're eating, they're enjoying company of other people, they're dancing, singing, but it's not the same. It's completely dry, useless. You can only squeeze so much. Hearing about it. That's more intelligent. And others by seeing others. You see, okay, this person is stealing, now he's put into prison. Right? So maybe I shouldn't steal. Maybe they're telling the truth when they tell me that. And another person learns by experience. He steals anyway, thinking, I'll get away with it. And then he gets put into jail. And then a little bit intelligent one, that when they get out of the jail, they'll try to be good. And a really stupid one will think, next time I'll get away with it. And they keep again and again doing the same thing. So, and all the sense gratification, like here we don't see cigarettes very much, but I guess rich people, I don't know. Because we were at Charlie Boys and they had a meeting, they were talking for a long time, and all of a sudden some of them got like really, and then they said, can we go outside and smoke? So 4 or 5 of them had to go out. They were older men, you know, but they're addicted. They know it's bad. They know it's not good for them. It's not really even enjoyable. I remember when I used to smoke, my friend, they live on wine. They just drink wine. And sometimes we would go for Food for Life, and some of the winos, they would eat and then they'd just vomit right away. They couldn't eat food. Only wine, but they would try to eat. Some of them wouldn't even try. They'd just give me wine, you know. And that has enough, you know, sugar in it and stuff, so they can live. But their brains get really rattled. And they just go around, give me some money, give me a couple of kobos, we'll get some wine. And so Prabhupada saw that guy, and in the class he said, to Rukmini's house. And then Krishna honored him and gave him artik and washed his feet and started talking about school, and Rukmini was fanning. And then he thought, I don't want to ask Krishna for anything, but my wife is begging, so I'll go and at least I can see Krishna. That's the most valuable thing. He didn't want to ask Krishna for anything except service and full surrender. And his wife gave him some old dried up rice that she begged from the neighbor, and it was wrapped up in an old cloth. And Krishna said, you must have brought me something. And no, he was saying, no, I didn't bring it. And Krishna grabbed it and ate half of it. And he said, this is the best food I ever had. Now the whole universe is satisfied. Rukmini stopped him from eating the rest of it. He said, this is more valuable than anything I have. Krishna said, how can I pay back? Because it was with love. It was something he didn't even have in his own house. He had to beg it to give Krishna something. So Krishna appreciated that. So the next day, he left in the morning, and he was still the same skinny guy. And he got to where he thought his house was. On the way back, he was just thinking, I'm so fortunate I could see Krishna, and Krishna is so great, and he was honoring the Brahman and all this. And then he couldn't find his house. There was palaces all around, and maidservants, and really opulent palaces, not just a big house. Much better than the Indian television houses. And if any of you watch those Indian television, I've been in a few houses of some of the richest men in India. I've never seen anything like that. Have you been in some of them? Yeah, they're not like those houses. Those are palaces, and everybody's dressed up like Rukmini and Dwarkadish all the time. There's nobody like that. But they try to make the illusion. And most of the Nigerian dramas also, rich people, big houses and servants and big cars. There are people like that, but not so many. It's not the common thing. And then his wife came out, but she was a young girl again and dressed in very opulently with maidservants all around. He still looked the same, and it said Krishna kept him like that so the wife would recognize him. And then as soon as the wife saw him and paid touch his feet, then he became also young and all dressed very beautifully. And then he just lived. He was thinking, Krishna kept me poor my whole life because I'm so fallen, and if I had anything, I'd forget Krishna. And I'd just become a sense enjoyer. He wasn't condemning Krishna. He wasn't thinking to ask him for it. But then after Krishna gave him everything, then he just lived his life also just worshiping Krishna. probably giving charity and everything. So we might not have that exactly happen to us, but you see, devotees live. All the devotees live okay. They got their basic needs. Then they got the oil money, and at first they were giving everybody money. Then they realized, we don't have, we can keep it. So a few people. Then it become very, and there's many examples of people like that. Like these lottery. They surveyed in America, 80 or 100 people who won the lottery, minimum $5 million winning. And 80% of them said, I wish I never won. Said, it ruined my life. They got this money, they go crazy, they don't know what, they spend it like crazy, and all their relatives they never heard of are coming begging for loans and gifts, not loans, gifts, help me, help me. Every salesman in the world is at their door, and they, usually in 2 years they're bankrupt. Something like that. Too quick money. So that's why Krishna doesn't give us so much, because we're not ready for it. If we were ready for it, like some devotees get a lot. Some devotees come from very rich families and inherit millions of dollars. Some devotees stay voluntarily very poor their whole life. They don't care. But everybody lives okay. We should try to take care of everybody. The ones who have something, they should help others. But especially here in this purport, Prabhupada is saying at the end, we should know the philosophy. We should know what we're doing. Why are we distributing these books? Is it so I can get my room and board? Did I do this Harinam? Then I can eat and sleep at the temple? Or is it so I can nice? They're intoxicated, illusion. Like an intoxicated person, they can be frozen or burned or hurt really bad. They don't feel it. I'm all right, no problem. Bleeding all over. No, so that's how the people are. There was an old song in America, I got money in my pocket and gas in the tank. Everything is great. I got no problem. I got money, and I got a car, and I have gas. I can go to the bar, I can go to the club, I can pick up a girl. And that's all they think about. Work hard all week, sutras. And everybody's like that, and they think, the people with money, they go shopping in a nice shopping center. The poor people go where everything's cheap, but they just think everything's all right. I can go shopping. I can get some food, sex, and in life they're really suffering because they have no future. They don't know what to do. The devotees want to help people. They want to have compassion. That's the whole essence of it. If we really have compassion, people are impressed, and people will want the books because, they'll see that we're happy, we're good people. But still, not everybody. One devotee, they told Prabhupada, the book distributors met, and they said something like, if we become pure, everybody will take a book. And Prabhupada said, that's a nice thought, but it's not true. There's always going to be a lot of demons. They won't take a book no matter what. But slowly, they might. They see devotees again and again, and they touch the book, and maybe if they're lucky, they get some prasadam, or they go home and say, those damn Hare Krishnas are making so much noise, those Hare Krishnas, what are they, stupid Hare Krishna. They get purified, and eventually they change. And it's happened many times. It takes a long time sometimes. These things happen after, He would just meet them. Even I just heard, I think it was, I don't know what I heard it from. Some company, and they had one guy in the company that just complained like anything. Always complained. So the company, instead of, just blasting him, they took one of their big managers to sit down with the guy. And the guy, 2 hours, he just complained about everything and everybody. The next day they did again and again, for 2 weeks. And then finally the guy, the next day he came and he only talked good about everything. He was just, just needed someone to listen to him, So that, and he said, "Oh, thank you, you helped me so much." The guy said, "I never said a word, I didn't do anything." But they think, because you listened to me, that you showed some apparent respect for me. I was thinking maybe we need to do that more, but some cases, chanting the holy name. And we're thinking how to spread the holy name. That's what Prabhupada said, how to control the mind, is how to spread, thinking always, how to spread the holy name. How to get more and more people chanting the holy name. So by going out, of course, people chant. Some people know us, not so many. When I left here at the airport security, the girl said, "Are you Muslim?" Because she knew it's some religion, but people don't know anything, Are you Muslim? Over Harinam, everybody will know I'm a big shot. They'll listen to me. The mind is very tricky like this. But it's not the case, It's like a prophet, I don't know, you probably haven't seen this, but in the Ganga and other rivers in India, when the boatmen have to go upstream, sometimes they walk and they tow the boat. Because they don't have a motor, so they walk and then they. New people are Krishna, But it's very good. Upananda here, he used to have a real drama party, like Aniruddha did. But they don't have to be so elaborate. They're these quickies, Again, become a mouse. Indra become a pig. It's just 5 minutes. And you can practice for 2 minutes and do it. But it makes everybody very attentive, and it gives a philosophical message. So I'm telling every temple I go, let's do the drama. They think you have to have a theater and you have to have all costumes and everything before you can do a drama. But just do it. Devotees used to just in the middle of Harinam just suddenly do a drama. Some crazy dramas.
Yes.
Right in the street, get huge crowds. There's movies of that. Now we're dried up, so anyway, learn the books. That's the most important thing. Learn the philosophy. Learn that, be convinced that there's nothing better than being a devotee. Then we can convince others. They subconsciously think of Krishna and they get benefit. So you can benefit people just by having children. I haven't heard anybody say things about it for many years. It used to be what happened to bird crap on you. But pious people feel good when they see you. They'll just talk to you like ordinary people. Okay, any comment or question? You see it happen, and I see that here's Damodar Maharaj arriving in Mauritius or something. Here he is arriving back in Lagos. There's a big festival at the airport. It can happen. If we want that to happen, it never happens. If we're just trying to serve Krishna. But devotees don't care. They just want to serve. And if you just want to serve and everything, we'll go up and down. There's a lot of difficulties. The Pandavas had so much trouble. Right? When Narada Muni went around trying to find the devotee who had the most mercy of Krishna, I think it was Prahlad or Hanuman told him the Pandavas. And then Yudhishthira said, don't tell anybody I'm a devotee. He said that, you know, they look at my life and nobody'd want to be a devotee. They'd see how much trouble. Don't put me up as a great devotee. That will discourage people. But actually the trouble Yudhishthira had was to demonstrate how to deal with all the trouble, you know, and not be disturbed by it. All right. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Yamadutas ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari.
Jai.